Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I thought I actually had this video set up to go, and then when I went to click on it, it wasn't there. So I had to create it this morning. So I hope you guys all saw my post last night about the fact that I'd be going live this morning. I do go live every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So you can always find me here with something fun to create. And this week I am featuring the Sweet Jar stamp set and punch bundle. And so I have a really fun card for you. And the layout for this card is actually from the Global Design Project's sketch challenge for this week. It's just one that worked beautifully, and I am having so much fun creating with this Sweet Jar set. I can't wait to play even more with it, and I also have a great card class coming up that you can register for that features this set. So let's hop in. I'm going to switch over to my desktop so you guys can see what I'm actually working with, and let's get started crafting. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is the Sweet Jar bundle. It is a fantastic stamp set that's filled with candles and hearts, 4-leaf clovers and cookies, and some great little sentiments. And what I love about this one is that it has a coordinating punch. Actually, I'll just flip it over. You might be able to see it a bit better. So it cuts out the jar and the lid separately. And so that's going to allow you to create some really great things with this jar. So I'm going to move these out of the way. This is the card that we're actually creating today. So it's using the Bright and Bold Designer Series paper, which is on our last chance list. It's actually a great deal. It's, I think, $10.70 for the full pack. It's 48 sheets of 6x6, and it is just such a fun package of paper with stars and stripes and dots and waves and watercolor washes and all sorts of stuff. So really beautiful paper. I have chosen all the ones that are in Berry Burst and Bubble Bath Pink today to create with, because I'm using a Berry Burst background. So here we go with our stuff. What I did is I took that paper, and there's some gorgeous blues and everything in there as well. I took some of that paper and I cut it into 1 by 4 inch strips. And I'm actually going to layer these onto some pieces of Secret Sea. This is like, I don't know, I'm calling it the new black. It's a really, really dark navy that almost looks black until you see it beside black. So we're going to put these pieces of Designer Series paper onto these Secret Sea strips of cardstock. So I'm just using liquid glue for this. You can use whatever you would like. And here we go. Just gonna go across like that. Oops. And pop that on. All right, so it leaves a tiny border on the top and bottom, but they should go straight edge to edge across. And so that's what we're hoping for, is that they go fully edge to edge. And so we've just got 2 more here to do. Oops, not the lid, the glue. You can switch this up and use any of the patterns you want from this pack. You could switch up and change the colors or whatever. I just wanted a real party feel. And so the confetti is in Berry Burst and blue tones. And so I just had a strip already cut in the Berry Burst. So that's what I used. And then I found some others that coordinate. So yeah, I really wanted this to be festive. And I think this confetti paper does the job. All right, so now that we have those 3 pieces of Designer Series paper laid out onto their Secret Sea backings, we're actually going to take them and put them onto a piece of Berry Burst. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, so it's going to layer nicely onto our card. So I'm going to start with my confetti wing. I want it right up at the top. And again, this is going to go edge to edge. I'm going to put it, I don't know, about half an inch, quarter of an inch down. There we go. And then I'll just layer on the other two, but I'm going to use a smaller space between them than I used between the top and the first one. So maybe just like 1/8 of an inch gap in there. And if they're not lining up exactly edge to edge, don't worry too much about it. We're going to lay it down on our card base. And because what we should be seeing is a secret C edge, it won't show. If that's not what we're seeing, if we're seeing too much of the berry burst, then we can just give it a little trim, because this is just a layer on top of our card base. So having it be exactly 4 by 5 1/4 isn't essential. All right. So there we go. So we've got our 3 layers on there. Now I'm just going to check and see what this looks like on our card base. And yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I put it on my card base. The fact that they weren't all perfectly to the edges actually doesn't show up anymore. So now we're going to take this layer and glue it to our Secret C card base. Okay. So just like that. Now I do like to decorate the insides of my cards. For this particular one, I don't think I'm actually going to stamp on the inside of my card, but what I'd like to do instead is use another strip of Designer Series paper to decorate. So Secret C is a bit dark for writing on. We do want to put a white insert in here, but to bring that party feel in, I am going to grab my Designer Series paper again. So this is the Bright and Beautiful 6x6 Designer Series paper that I used on the front. And I'm just going to grab this sheet again that has the confetti, and I'm going to cut a 3/4 inch strip by 5 1/4 to put onto the front there. So 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. And that's going to layer nicely onto our white insert. So this is a great way to use up scraps that you might have. And so we're just going to pop that in as a layer there. And then we have that fun confetti falling down the inside of our card. Now I'm going to glue it right to the edge. All right, so here we go. And then I'm going to glue this layer inside my card. So it just ties the front of our card in with the inside and keeps the party going. And there we go. So that's our inside. And there's the front of our card. Now we get to start playing with the fun little elements from our stamp set and adding in those details to the card. So I'm going to put these off to the side. I'm going to get a piece of basic white cardstock. And actually, I was using this stamp earlier. I'm going to give it a little clean and show you the best way to mount this this stamp onto its block. So you can use the punch directly, or you can use, I'm actually going to create myself a template to keep in my stamp set so that I always have this. What you want to do is take your punch and punch out. Now I am going to write this side up on my page, because that tells me that this is the direction I was holding the paper when I punched it instead of this way. For this particular jar, I don't think it matters. It's pretty symmetrical, but for some punches, that's going to make a difference when you go to line up your stamps. So to make sure that your punch is going to cut your stamp out properly, I come in here and I lay it down so that it is sitting inside. You know what, this is challenging on the white background. Let's get something darker to put down. Here we go. So now I can really see where my jar is. And then so I line this up inside, so I make sure it's all in the cutout frame and then centered within the cutout frame. And then I can put my block on top of it. Now what's cool about doing this is not only do you get your jar perfectly lined up, but you can also layer in your lid if you wanted to, so that you could stamp the two of them at the same time in the same color. Good morning, Gail. Now I'm not going to do that today because I'm actually going to be embossing my lid, but not my jar. But now I know that my jar is lined up perfectly to be punched out by my punch. So now this little template that I created, I'm just going to keep this in my stamp set. And that way I've always got it when I'm going to go mount my jar, so that I'll always have it lined up properly for cutting it out. Because it is fairly thin, it's easy to get it like a little wiggle, and then it won't fit in your punch properly. All right, I'm going to use some Secrecy ink to stamp my jar now. And even though I'm not stamping the lid, I still want to stamp this fairly close down to the bottom, because when I go to put my paper into the punch, I don't have space to have a lot of paper underneath it to punch it out. All right, so I've got that done. My jar is done in my Secrecy. And now I'm going to stamp my candles inside here. So my background on my card is Berry Burst. And then in the DSP as well, we have some Berry Burst. So I'm going to stamp my candles in Berry Burst as well. If you wanted to have some fun, you could add in some different colors. But I just really like it with the Berry Burst. Now I'm doing 2 sets of candles side by side. So I did my first one a little bit off to the right so that I had space for my second one. So we've got 6 candles in our jar now. And then I'm going to grab my Darling Duckling. You could use Daffodil Delight, Crushed Curry, like any yellow will do. And I'm going to stamp my candle flames. Now what I love about this set is they put the 3 candles together, and then they put the 3 flames together, which means I can come in and line up 3 flames all at once. And there we go, 2 stamps. I've got 6 candles lit. So it's really nice that way, that it's just so quick and easy. Okay, so now we can punch out this jar. We're done with our stamping on here. So I'm going to come in, line that up, which of course it lines up beautifully because we set it up that way. There we go. Now I'm still going to need my punch for one more piece because we still have the jar lid to make. I've got this cute little white lid here, but I'm actually not going to use this. I wanted to have a metallic lid. So I just got a scrap of Secrecy cardstock here. I am going to wipe, oh, don't bend it. I'm going to wipe it with my embossing buddy. And then I'm going to use some Versamark to stamp my lid onto this little piece. Okay, so there I have it stamped. Now I'm going to use some silver embossing powder. So I actually don't have any out in the tray right now, so I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper and my jar of silver, maybe. There we go, my jar of silver. And I'm just going to sprinkle some over top. Tap off the extra, and then I'll just pour this back into my jar. There we go. So now I can put that away, and we can heat emboss our piece. So this is on a strip of paper that's pretty long, so I don't need my tweezers to do this. There we go. I have my beautiful silver jar lid now. And I'm going to get my punch And I love that this is on a longer strip because that gives me something to hold on to while I feed it into place to then be able to punch it out. And so if I were to do more, I would keep this piece attached, do more of them over on this side, and that way I still have something to hold on to punch it out. So that's how I'm going to leave that. So we've got our jar here. Now, if I put my jar lid on my candles, it'll snuff them out. I mean, it won't, they're stamped, but in real life. So we're going to keep our jar just a little open. So I've kind of put it on an angle. I'm going to flip it over. And then I had dimensionals. Where'd they go? Oh, hid them under my ink. I'm going to grab some dimensionals, and I'm going to put one that's going to hold the lid and the base together on that angle. So now my lid is permanently kind of popped open, just being held in place by a dimensional. And then I can put some more dimensionals on here. I'm going to put one down in each corner, and you can either cut a large dimensional or you can grab a mini dimensional and just use it on that popped up piece of lid. And actually, I'm going to do one more on my jar. Okay, so with all of those pieces done, I'm going to grab my card again, and I am going to peel all those backings off and attach this right here. So you can put it as high or as low as you want. I kind of want mine to go up into that next layer of DSP with the lid. So there we go. Did that. And now we just need to add a sentiment and some sparklies. So let's grab a Stylish Shapes banner. So this is, my go-to stamp set. It's my Stylish Shapes. You got your circles, squares, and banners. So I've used the thinner, longer banner. And we've got the happy birthday sentiment from our Sweet Jar stamp set. I'm going to just stamp that onto my banner. So I find I have better success stamping vertically. There we go. Nope, not so great today, but that's okay. Good enough. So there we have our sentiment stamped. And I'm going to attach it to my card front over top of my candles. I'm going to put a dimensional on the right side of it. And then just either a mini glue dot or a dab of glue on the side that's going to overlap my jar. And then you can put that down. You can cover up as much or as little of your candles as you'd like, but I'm trying to kind of overlap the bottom layer of DSP so that it's kind of like a dividing line there. And then I have chosen one of my favorites, my iridescent faceted gems, as my embellishment for this card. And I am just going to scatter them around my jar. Just kind of above it, below it, both sides of it. And so I kind of created a triangle here and a triangle here to just create some balance around it. And that is our Sweet Jars card finished using this awesome layout from the Global Designs Project. So they post a new challenge, sketch challenge, color challenge, inspiration challenge every Monday, and I love to play along with them. So that is today's card. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you like this Sweet Jar set, I do have an upcoming card class registration. It's happening now till mid-June, and then the card class will actually be at the beginning of July, once my craziness of school is done. And we're featuring in that one the new floral designs paper, as well as the neutral matte dots to go with it. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful little kit. Some great cards. You actually get to make 8 cards. Oh, thanks for watching, Gail. I'm so glad you liked it. And yeah, have fun playing with this. The candles, the cookies, the hearts, even the shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day are just fantastic. It's such a sweet set. And then do check out my blog post about this card. It'll be posted later tonight or sent out in an email today, because I'm going to be using this layout to try and create one more card, actually using my online exclusive that I'm featuring this week, which is the Pop and Buy. So check that out. It's going to be super duper cute. I love the set. So much fun, especially for like birthday card thank yous and just like a sweet treat for kids. And yeah, it's wonderful. So have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope you are somewhere where it's warm and sunny. We're finally feeling like early summer here. It's supposed to go up to almost 30 degrees today. So I'm super excited for that. It's been a bit of a cool and rainy spring, so a nice change. All right, take care, everyone, and we'll chat soon. Bye-bye.